So I found this dress on SHEIN for $21, and the first thing I thought is, yeah, I can probably make this. Now, one of the major perks of fast fashion is how cheap it is. So I thought to myself, yeah, I can make this, but can I make it for cheaper? So I headed to the thrift store and thrifted these sheets for so we have the fitted sheets and the regular sheets. Each of them cost $4.99, so that's $4.99 each. That's both of them being a little under $10, and this is way more fabric that we'll need, by the way, so I think that's already a steal. Then my thread for about $3, and then my zipper for about $5.90, and yeah, it's looking good so far. Now I'm going to take my fitted sheet and I'm going to take out the elastic from this corner and also use my seam ripper to open up this seam here so that it's nice and flat. Also, that means I'm going to get elastic bands, which we definitely need for this tutorial. So we're looking good and we're staying on that budget right now.
Okay, so we have our fabric folded over, and this is the folded edge right here. So we have this rough edge because this was like the corner of the fitted sheet, but that doesn't matter, we'll just start from here, right? So first of all, because this dress has like the strap, because this dress has a strap on the shoulder at the armhole area, I mean on the bodice, because this dress has a strap, the bodice that we're going to cut is going to kind of be like when you have an off-shoulder top or dress. So my armhole measurement is usually 8 inches, so I'm going to divide that by 2, and so that's 4 inches. So I'm going to take away 4 inches from the top of my body. So every vertical measurement, I'm going to start at the shoulder with 4 inches. So this is where I'm going to place my tape to take every vertical measurement. So first thing I'm taking is my shoulder to shoulder measurement divided by 2, and then I'm just going to mark that. I already did some markings because just ignore the markings that you can see right now. I lost the footage of marking this at first, so I'm redoing it. Anyway, 7 inches, so I'm just going to mark that here. You mark it at 2 points just to make sure. And then next thing you want to do is to mark your armhole. So as you know, I already took out 4 inches, so what's left for my armhole is 4 inches. So I'm going to mark my 4 inches here. And then on this area, I'm marking my bust measurements divided by 4 plus an inch for sewing allowance. You could do an inch and a half, 2 inches even, right? So next up, I'm marking my half length, which is basically where my waist falls. So of course, starting here at 4, I'm just going to mark that. And then on this line, I'm marking my waist measurements divided by 4 plus 2 inches, 1 inch for sewing allowance and the other inch for my dart. Now, this is a basque waistline, so that means you have like the center front coming down a bit, and then you have like a V shape, right? So we're going to come down an inch and a half from my waistline, actually an inch and a quarter. You could do an inch even, and from here I'm going to come down by 5.5 inches, or I guess we could make it 6 inches. I just don't want it to be too low. You know what, we'll come down by 5.5 inches. Right, so with a straight line, I'm going to connect this point to this point right here. So just like this. Right, and then we're going to join this point to this point. And this sharp corner here, I'm just going to make it a curved edge. Okay, so next up, I'm going to measure my shoulder to under bust, and I'm going to mark that point. Okay, so from this line where my armhole is supposed to be, I'm going to come in by 1 3/4 inches, or you could do 2 inches actually. It's almost 2 inches anyway. So I'm going to just come down and make a curved line that would connect to this under bust line right here. and this is what we have. So we're going to cut out this part because from the reference picture you have like this area is kind of gathered and we can't achieve that if we just leave it this way. So now I'm just going to pin everything in place, just pin everything in place and then cut out my front bodice. Okay, so this is what it looks like after I cut it out. And as you can see here at this point, I just wanted to mention where you have the V. At this point you want to make it like at least half an inch where you have like just a straight line. This will really help when you're attaching the skirt part of the dress. You'll see when we're sewing it. But now it's time to cut the back of the dress. Okay, so I have my folded fabric and I've laid the front piece that we just cut on top of it. Now the front and back are kind of similar but kind of not. As you can see here, I've left out 1.5 inches for my zipper allowance because I'm going to put a zipper at the back of this dress. That's how I'm going to get in and out of the dress, right? And for the back, there's no basque waistline, so the back is going to just have like the regular waistline right around here. And then for the arm as well, you can see that this part, I let this part extend out of my folded fabric because I'm going to fold this part down, and my back is going to look, because I want the back to be a bit low but not too low. So from the armhole here, I'm just going to do a slight curve like this for the back of my dress basically. So yeah, other than that, I'm going to trace and follow here, then come this way. So I'm also going to fold this over. Have to be careful of the pins, but I'm also going to fold this over so that I can have a straight waistline at the back, and then I have my allowance here for the zip. So I'm just going to cut this out now. Okay, so that is the back and this is the front, and yeah, that's where the zip is going to be. This is where the two sides are going to be joined. Really excited for how this is going to turn out, but I'm basically just going to cut these two again. And the pieces I'm going to cut, that would be like the lining for this one, because I didn't actually buy lining, so I'm going to use the same fabric to line this because it's kind of light. It's a bit light, so I'm going to cut this again so I can use the pieces I cut for the lining of this. So let's do it. Okay, so for the skirt part of my dress, I have my fabric folded over, and this is what it looks like. So this is going to be the length of the fabric, right? And I noticed that this dress, it's actually gathered. It's not like a circle dress or anything, so the skirt part is going to be gathered at the waist. Now the original dress, the gathering isn't too much, it's like really lightly gathered, but I think I want mine to be kind of full. So if you're going for a moderate level thing, for the width of your fabric for when you fold it over to cut your skirt part of your dress, it should be about 3 times the circumference of your waist. So whatever your waist measurement is, multiply that by 3 and then add 1 inch for sewing allowance. But that's like the width that you should work with. I have a lot more than half of I have a lot more than 3 times my waist measurement here, because I think I want to go for a fuller skirt for my dress specifically. So what I have at the width here is actually, as it's folded over now, this here is 35 inches. So since it's folded over, that will be a full like 70 inches circumference, and I'm thinking I could still add some from the rest of my fabric over there, but I'm going to cut this out and see how it looks. So all I'm going to do now is to just mark the length of my skirt and then cut a straight line to cut that out, and then I'll actually look at it and see if I want more volume or if that's going to be fine for me. So yeah. Okay, so I did end up cutting another one for the back. So we have one rectangle for the front and one rectangle for the back. The difference is, for the one for the back, I actually cut it like down the middle. So this is the center back where my zip is going to be, and this is the side where it will join to the front, right? So this is what I have. So I have 3 pieces right now, 2 for the back and 1 for the front. So also, because like I said, this fabric I feel like is kind of light, so I'm going to cut like a shorter version of this to be my skirt, but I'm not going to make it as full as this outer one is. I just want it to be I just want to use it to line the inside, just so that like whatever I wear underneath the dress isn't showing, you know, so it's not as transparent, right? Because you can see it kind of looks really light. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Then next up, I'm going to cut the straps, and then we can finally get around to sewing this dress. So excited. Okay, so here are my straps. They are 15 inches long and 5 inches wide. 5 inches wide because I'm going to fold it over this way. So really, this is how wide it's going to be. Like by the time I sew about half an inch here, you know. So I want them to be kind of thick but not too thick. So if you'd like yours to be smaller or bigger, you can work with your own measurements, but this is 5 inches wide. Anyway, yeah, so that is that. Also for the length of the straps, I actually just measured, like I measured myself and like to see how long I would like the straps to be. My measurement was actually 13 inches, but I'm using 15 inches just because I feel like I might need it to be slightly longer, but then I might not need it to actually be this long. I don't know. But it's better too long than too short. It can always be reduced, but if it's too short, that's another headache altogether. Now, coming back to the front, which I almost forgot, that part of the dress, this area right here that we cut out, that's the part of the fabric that was supposed to be here, right? So that I have that exact shape. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this to cut the piece that we're actually going to put here instead, right? And what I'm going to do is to cut this exact same shape. This is the part that is going to sit here like this. And so as you can see, I extended this point by 1 inch because I'm going to make a casing here for the elastic. So the elastic is what is going to pull it back, so it's going to be like the same width with this. I don't know, I think it's a bit wide. I might end up like reducing it just a bit, but anyway, I did add like about 5 inches here. That's to the actual width of the, what's it called, so I added an extra 5 inches, and this is what we have, right? So yeah, and then I cut 2 pieces as well. So one piece acts as the main fabric, and then the other one sort of acts as a lining. If you do get lining for your own dress, then you cut one piece in your main fabric and one piece in your lining fabric. I didn't get any lining, so I'm using my fabric as my lining. Anyway, yeah. So here's what the pocket looks like. So my pocket is 15 inches long this way, and then it's 9 inches wide. So you can make yours shorter or longer. I just really like to have my pockets be a bit deep. This is where the mouth of the pocket is going to be. So basically this is where my hand is going to enter from. And you know, as long as it's big enough for my phone, honestly, I'm fine with it. So this is my pocket. So that is all of the pieces for our dress. And we can finally start sewing. The first thing I'm going to do is take my straps. Actually, I'll start preparing the straps. So this one that's supposed to be like the cute little bow in front of the dress, I'm just going to take it, and then I'm going to, of course, fold these rough edges right at this area. So fold in this, and then just like kind of like what you have when you see your bias tape. So fold in the 2 edges and then fold it this way, and then just sew all the way down. And so I'm going to have one string or one tiny strap. That will be this. Then for the straps that we're using for the shoulders, right, I'm just going to take each one, fold it over once, and just sew a straight stitch, and then turn it right side out and press it so it's flat and nice. And then I'm going to come to this part, which is supposed to be here at the chest area or the bodice, right? So this part which fits in here, when you open it up, sorry for that, when you open it up, you should have like this wide rectangle with the curved edges at the 2 bottom areas. So I'm going to sew a straight stitch up here, just from one end to the other, and then turn it right side out. And then upon turning it right side out, I'm going to sew another straight stitch just about 1 inch below that, and then through that creates a tunnel, right, a small channel right here from one end to the other. Through that, I'm going to pass my elastic through. I'm going to pass my elastic through from one end to the other, and I'm using 2 pieces of elastic because I feel like these elastics are not as strong. It's from Thrifted sheets, so it has been used for a bit at least. They're not too worn out, but still I'm just using 2 just for precaution, basically, you know. So if one gets too slack, the other one is there and all of that. Anyway, I'm going to get on that right now. Also, if you have interfacing, this would be the part where you iron your interfacing onto the main fabric. So like I mentioned before, I'm using my fabric as my main fabric and my lining as well. But if you have lining, then yeah, then one of these 2 pieces would be cut in your lining. But what I'm trying to say is you iron your interfacing onto the main fabric, not your lining. So you can do that on the bodice pieces, so the front and the back bodice pieces, the main fabric only, not the lining. So this is the part where you do all of that, and I'm just going to sew my straps and, you know, all of the straps and then the elastic up here. So this is what our pieces are looking like. It's looking really good. I'm so excited. So I have my elastic passed through here, and this is the rope that we made that I'm just going to attach here. Like, I'm just going to attach it here so I can tie a cute little bow. It's not functional, so this is not necessary at all, but I just really love this. I think it's just a really cute touch, so I'm going to do that. So the next thing I'm going to do is to actually join this with the rest of the bodice. So all we're going to do is to open this up, right? So we're going to open this up, and remember that this one is actually wider than this, so in attaching this, we're going to actually make gathers. Like, I usually do this manually, but an easier way to do it would be to run a basting stitch all the way around. Use the widest stitch on your machine and just run a straight stitch all the way around, and then you gently tug your thread to gather it up, and then you attach it. That makes it a lot easier, but most of the time I just manually do it, but either way works. So we're laying it out like this, and we're just going to attach the two of them together. Now after doing that, I'll just show you the next step, because let's not make it too complicated. Okay, so this is what our bodice is looking like right now. Don't worry about all this puckering around here. By the time I press it, it will be nice and flat. But anyway, that's not the thing, that's not the issue. I realized that I should have actually attached this before going ahead to do this, because it's just going to, like, attaching this area makes it harder to attach the straps. So as you can see, I already started seam ripping here just so I can show you what I mean. So what we're going to do, instead of just going ahead to attach this part, before doing this, you're going to want to run a straight stitch here, right? So you turn it right side out, right? You flip this, and then you turn it inside out. That's, yeah, inside out. And then you sew this area, and you make some tiny snips around, so that when you turn it right side out and press it, it will be nice and flat. So after doing that, with this area still open and this area closed, you're going to go ahead and just assume that this is this part, right? Because this part is going to be open, this part is going to be closed. So on this side, you're going to open it up, take your strap, place it this way, close it up, run a stitch, and then turn it right side out. So while your piece is inside out and you've run the stitch on this end, you're going to open up this other side, place the strap, and then run a straight stitch to hold it in place, so that by the time you turn it right side out, your strap would be nicely tucked in and this armhole would be finished. And then after doing all of that, you can proceed to attach this. So that's where I messed up. I attached this first of all, so I'm just going to remove this piece, attach my straps, and then reattach this, and then I'll press it so it would look nice and smooth around here without all of this puckering around. So yeah, I'm just going to do that right now. Okay, so this is what it looks like so far. I've attached the straps, and this is the piece that is going to be here. This is the piece that I had to take out, and this is where it's going to sit. But before I even do that, I'm actually going to put darts on either side of my dress, because it just makes the fit better, especially if you're going for like a slightly cinched waist. So I'm going to put darts on this. I'm not going to go into too much details about the darts. I will link a video in a previous tutorial in the description box where I went into more details on how to put darts on a dress. But yeah, so I'm going to put darts on this, and then after sewing my darts, I will attach this, and we would start working on the back side of the bodice. Alright, so after undoing and redoing my stitches a few times, this is what my bodice is looking like, and I really like it. So you can see how the dart sort of cinches in the waist a bit and gives it a more three-dimensional form. So like your bodice doesn't completely lay flat on the ground anymore, which is really good, because the human body is not like flat or angular, you know. Yeah. So like this really helps the fit, especially around this waist area. And I've gone ahead to attach this part as well, and you can see I pressed it, so it looks a lot better now. And next up, we're just going to move straight into working on the back of this dress. So this is the area where the zipper is going to be. So this is the part that is going to connect to this area right here. So what I'm going to do first of all is to remove the pins I have here. And I have my two lining pieces and my two main fabric pieces. So I'm just going to open it up like this. So this is where the zipper is going to fall. And the first thing that I'm going to do is to make sure that this is the wrong side of the fabric, right? This part that we're looking at here. So I'm going to sew a straight line all the way here, and do that on this side as well. You know, whatever you do on this side, you do on the other side, you know, yeah, the same thing. So I'm going to sew a straight stitch here. So while you are sewing this area closed, you also want to make sure that at that point you attach the other end of this strap, because it comes in somewhere around here, right? So just like a few inches away, I would say maybe 3 inches away from this point, you can attach this. Or if you want it closer to like the center of your back, you can attach it somewhere around the middle. I think I'm going to attach mine somewhere around the middle, so somewhere here, right? And so what you want to do, let me just explain again. So this is the wrong side of the fabric, right? And so we're going to turn it, this is the neckline for the back. We're going to turn it upside down in order to attach this other end of the strap. We're going to turn it upside down, and then we're going to take that strap, and then we're going to sandwich it in between the two pieces like this, close it up. Make sure that it is coming out of this end just a little bit so that your stitch holds it in place also. And so that with it here, you're just going to sew, and that'll be on the wrong side, and then I'm going to turn it right side out, flip it out, and also top stitch just on the inside, that's on the lining piece. And when I'm done with that, when I'm done with the top stitching, I'm going to turn it inside out again, and then on this area where we have the zipper, I'm going to also do a straight stitch here. So it's easier that you do the top stitching first before you do this one, because like it will be harder to get to like the corners to the edge of this place if you already close up this side before doing the top stitching. So I'm going to do that, and then after that I'm going to press it, and then oh yeah, I'm also going to put that on the back as well, and I'll show you the result of that. Alright, so we're finally getting somewhere. This is the front of the bodice, that's the waistline right there, and then these are the two back pieces. So as you can see, the straps are attached, everything is in place, and honestly, like, it is really looking good. So it's already like coming together. But anyway, the next thing that we're going to do is to actually attach the skirt part of the dress to the waist. You could actually like lay your back piece on your front piece, sew the sides, and then attach the skirts, but I prefer to do it this way because I'm going to be attaching pockets on the sides, and I feel like this would be a lot easier for attaching the pockets. But if you're not, then you could just like do the other method. Anyway, yeah, so the first thing that I would do is to on the waistline of the skirt part, I'm going to sew a basting stitch all around, which is basically like a straight stitch, a loose straight stitch all the way through, and then I'm going to pull on the thread gently to create the gathers, and then pin that to the dress, and then proceed to sew it. So yeah, you could do this, or you could manually gather your fabric as you sew, but I think this is a lot better, especially if you want to achieve even gathers all around your skirts or your dress. So let's go. Okay, so here is what our dress looks like. I've attached the skirt part of it and I tried it on. First of all, one thing that I want to do is actually to shorten the skirt just a bit, because I overestimated my height. And then this is the piece that we're using for the pocket. So like I explained to you, I've already joined the skirt, but I haven't joined the side, right? I haven't joined the side. This place is being held by pins. I haven't joined the sides yet. So what I want to do is to attach my pockets first. So these are my two pockets. I'm just going to take one like this, and I'm going to turn my dress inside out, but just for illustration purposes, I'm going to show you how I'm going to attach it to the inside of the dress. So I would lay my pocket beside my dress like this, and then I would simply sew one side of the pocket to this side of the dress, and not all the way down. I'm just going to be sewing about 7 inches or 6 inches, depending on how wide you want your the mouth of your pocket to be. So when you check that, you can add an extra 1.5 inches because you're going to be closing off these points. So yeah, so I'm going to sew it this way, attach these two and sew about 6 or 7 inches, and then do the same thing on the other side with the other side of the pocket, right? So attach it that way. Now after attaching it to the skirt of the pocket, to the skirt of the dress, right? So let's just assume this part is attached already. Now I'm going to close the side of my dress, and what I'm going to do is start all the way from here and sew. When I get here, I'm going to sew this way, so that way I've closed this part of the pocket. Then because this place is already closed, we don't necessarily need to, but if you just want to continue in a straight line, you can come down this way, sew this place closed, and then come back out and then continue down the rest of your dress. And that's basically it. So it's really easy to do these inside pockets. Like, they can seem challenging sometimes, but it's really easy. So after doing that, after attaching both pockets and closing the sides of the dress, all that will be left to do is to finish the hem of the dress, and we're basically done. So I'm going to finish my dress and I'm going to show you what it looks like when I'm done. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I forgot to mention the back of the dress. Anyway, with the zip, right, I got the closest matching zip I could. So you can simply because this is a gathered dress, so the back, anyway, so what you need to do, you can quickly check, like, just to see how long your zip is. Mine is pretty long, so you don't have to close off the dress at the end of the zip, so I'm just going to close it off around here. So from this point I'm going to close it all the way to the hem, and then from that point up is where my zip is going to sit. So yeah, that is everything, and then the dress will be complete. Oh, my hand looks so red. Is it just me? Oh my goodness.